I quit my job at age 36. Hey there, I'm Tiffany Thomas with wealthytiffany.com, and in today's video I'm going to be telling you how I was able to quit my job at age 36, because who doesn't dream of retiring early and living on a beach somewhere? Okay, maybe we don't all want to go live on a beach somewhere, but I think we do want the option to retire early. And we can stay at our job if we really enjoy it, or we can quit our job if we're not happy there. Like, I wasn't happy at my job toward the end of it, so I decided to quit and pursue other passions, like starting my own business, helping people learn how to manage their money better and invest it so that they can become financially free at a young age. And also travel. I do enjoy traveling and going to the beach, but not actually living on the beach. Although I did date a guy for a little bit who lived on the beach for a while. He would actually climb up those pavilions that they have there and sleep on top of them, so the beach patrol, or whatever they're called, the beach cops, wouldn't kick him out at night. So there was that. Okay, anyway, I digress. So let's get back to the point. Even if you don't want to just spend your days lounging on the beach or hiding from the beach patrol, I'm sure you want the option to be able to quit your job. So let's dive into the details on how I was able to accomplish this. So if you're ready to dive right into the information, click that like button and we're gonna get started. One of the major things that helped me be able to quit my job at age 36 was actually saving my money. And this is only part of it, but it's really important that you're not spending more money than you're actually making. You actually have money to save. So that was the first thing that I did. I actually saved my money. And I'm sure I had a pretty high savings rate. I know people calculate this all the time, and I've never actually calculated it, but I did have $54,000 sitting in the bank at age 31. So I was able to save a significant amount of my money throughout my 20s. And yes, I did leave it sitting in my bank account, and the version of Tiffany now would not do that. She would be investing that, and we're going to talk about that later. But how was I able to save a significant amount? Let me talk about that. There are three expenses that are usually the highest for most people, and that is your housing, transportation, and food. So I want to kind of focus on those three things and how I was able to save so much money in those three areas. Now, the first one, housing. This one, I lived at home while I went to school, which was so convenient. My parents were nice enough to let me live in their home while I attended college. But there are other options. You can live with roommates, you can get student housing that might be less, or get some type of job associated with student housing that actually pays for your housing. Or you could even buy a place and rent it out for more money than you're being charged to rent the place. There's other options, and I've talked about this in other videos, so you guys can check those videos out. And yes, I did move out after I graduated from college, and I moved in with someone, so I had a roommate, so we were splitting that rent payment, which made it less expensive. And eventually I ended up buying my own property and having roommates there, so they helped to pay my mortgage. So you guys, if you can really focus on how to reduce your housing costs, that is going to help you save a significant amount of money. Think about how much that rent is each month, and if you're able to save, even 30% of that, then that's going to really increase your savings rate. And the second item, transportation. Once again, I was fortunate enough to share a car with my sister, and eventually she bought her own car, and so I was able to use that car as I went to college. And it was a very small car. It was a Mercury Tracer. I don't actually remember the year, 80s of some sort. And it got really good gas mileage, and it was a manual, so it was fun to drive. And I drove that thing pretty hard during college. I took that on roads I probably should not have taken it on, but it survived. So you guys, I drove this really cheap car through college, and it worked great for me because I was able to save so much money for my transportation costs. And you guys, if you can really think about ways to save money on transportation, that's going to help you increase your savings rate. Because think of that car payment that you might have right now, how expensive that is. And if you didn't have that car payment at all, you could put that money directly towards savings. Or just think about ways that you can commute with others, you can carpool. And that's another thing I did when I was attending college. I carpooled with different people all of the time. We would take turns driving, And it worked out great because we weren't spending that much money in gas and we weren't getting as much wear and tear on our vehicles because we were splitting that up. So I would not recommend buying a brand new car to drive, because as soon as you drive that off the lot, your value drops a significant amount and you're not going to be able to sell it for anywhere near the amount that you originally paid for it. So keep that transportation cost down as much as possible. And then the third thing that I want to talk about is your food. A lot of people go out to eat all of the time. I've seen it with a ton of my coworkers. They would go out to eat every day. And I was not one of them. I did not go out to eat hardly at all while I was working. And yes, while I was going to college, since I lived at home, my mom would cook me food, which is so great. I really miss that. Yeah, I miss that a lot. Okay, but anyway, when I had a full-time job, I would bring my lunch pretty much every day. And I created another video on this, how I saved $2,600 per year. So you guys can check out that video if you want details on how I was able to do that. Not eating out as much is going to increase that savings rate significantly. Take a look at how much you've spent the past month on food alone, on eating out, and you can really start to see how much money you could really save if you were to make your meals at home, and especially if you're going out to eat every day. That's going to make a huge difference in your savings rate. So take a look at your largest expenses right now and decide how you can decrease those, because that is going to have a significant impact on how much you're going to be able to save. Sure, clipping some coupons and, decreasing a few things that are, a few dollars is going to help, but it won't help as quickly as decreasing your largest expenses will. So really focus on those. All right, if this has made sense so far, I want you to comment "decrease largest expenses" in the comments below so I know you are understanding this. All right, what else contributed to me being able to quit my job at age 36? I was doing a little bit of investing over the years. I had a 401k at my employment, so I was investing at least the minimum that they would match. And with one of the employers that I had, they actually had a separate type of pension account for us that they were contributing money to. So that was really nice of them, and I know that hardly ever happens, but I was able to get that little bit extra money in a retirement account. And I was able to purchase my first home at age 25, and I was receiving that income from my roommates. So at age 31, I had just over $62,000 in my retirement accounts, and I did have a house that I was paying on. Not too bad for a 31-year-old, and I know it could have been a lot better had I have known what I know now back then, because I know a lot more about investing, and I've done a lot more of that in my 30s than I did in my 20s. So you guys, learn from my mistakes. Start investing as early as possible. The main point being that I was able to save my money. I wasn't spending more money than I was bringing in. Investing is the next part that I want to talk about. This is going to make such a huge difference in whether or not you'll be able to retire. Because honestly, if you are not investing your money, if you are only saving your money, you will not be able to retire. You will not be able to quit your job and live off of your investments because you won't have any. I can't emphasize that enough. You have to be investing your money. All right, so when I started investing more of my money and got better and better, that's when things really started to take off. I finally bought my first stock at age 33, and I loved doing that. So I bought more and more stocks, and I remember making $5,000 off just one stock. After I had started doing this, I had ended up cashing out some of that money and putting it toward another investment. And I remember thinking, wow, all I did was invest in these stocks, and they have given me such a high return. There's no way I could be able to work that much and make that kind of money in the same amount of time. So you guys, once again, investing is so important. And I get that it's not always going to be that way. The market goes up and down, but it does go up over time. And I also liked the passive income that I had from my roommates. So I wanted to invest in another property. I had a boss who was really successful with rental properties, and I had a really good friend that was also successful. They both had their own strategies, so I talked to both of them. I asked them lots of questions and decided to buy another property that would be a rental for me. I took advice from each of them that I felt like would work for me, created my own strategy, and purchased that second property at age 34. At that same age, I decided to start a blog, and a couple years into it, I decided I wanted to turn it into more of a business. And that was part of the reason that I ended up quitting my job, is because I wanted to focus more on this, on my business, and get that going. I had gone out with another guy that had ended up just quitting his job, his full-time job, because he was making more from his blog and a couple other websites he had than his 9-to-5 could ever pay him. And he was making really good money at his current job. So seeing him do that, I thought, I can do that too. And yes, it took a while to grow that business, to get it going and really figure out where I wanted to focus. So I have not created a full-time income from my business yet, but it's in the works and I am making money. So it's very gratifying to pursue one of my passions and be able to make an impact and make an income at the same time. So I don't want you to think, oh, I should just quit my job and start a business and everything will be great. It doesn't work quite like that. There's a lot of work that has to go into it, and it takes some time to build it up. Once I had purchased that second property, it was doing well for me and I wanted to purchase another property. So I bought another property at age 36, 2 days after my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I actually ended up moving into that third property so that I wouldn't have to put a large down payment on the property. I was able to, I think I put 5% down on this property that I moved into. And guess what? I also got roommates for this property. So I'm creating passive income by having roommates here, and I left my old roommates at my old place and replaced myself there, and I'm receiving passive income from that rental as well. And yes, rentals do take work, but it's definitely not a full-time job. So I would much rather build up my own dream and create passive income that way and spend a few hours here and there managing my rental properties. After purchasing these 3 properties, I didn't have quite enough income coming in to cover all of my expenses, but I did have a significant amount in savings and in the stock market. I had money in my Roth IRA and actually a traditional IRA, but also a brokerage account. So I could pull out money from my brokerage account at any time without a penalty. Of course, I'd have to pay taxes on that money, but there's no penalty to pull that money out. I had these things in place so that I could actually quit my job and feel comfortable with doing that, because I had my rental properties and I had my brokerage account and I had my Roth IRA, which I could pull money out that I had actually contributed to my Roth IRA without a penalty. But I had things set up and I had my business going a little bit. So I really felt like it was a good time for me to quit my job and pursue my passions. And since my 3 properties were doing so well, I wanted to get 1 more property. And if you do want to see more detailed information about how much the properties cost, how much they're worth, how much I did for a down payment, I do have another video on that, so I will leave the link below and you can check out that video to get more details. So I ended up purchasing a single family home at age 37, and I pulled out a chunk of money from my brokerage account and some money from my Roth IRA that I had contributed to put toward my down payment on that property. And when I purchased that property, the people that had owned it previously wanted to stay for another month. So I let them stay in the property for another month. So they covered my mortgage for that month. And then I ended up getting tenants in there. I put single girls in the property because I had purchased the property right before my birthday. By age 38, I was financially free. I had created enough passive income from my investments to cover all of my expenses. It's super exciting, and it is such a great accomplishment that I was able to do this. And I'm not sharing this information to brag at all. I know there are other people out there that have done this way sooner than I have. So that's the basic timeline for me being able to quit my job at age 36 and become financially free at age 38. Just to kind of clarify, I could have really reduced my expenses to a bare minimum and been okay at age 36. But you guys, I like to have a little fun. I like to travel a little bit and, do some fun things. So I wanted a little more passive income to have a little more fun in my life. And I still want to be able to travel a little bit more and experience a few other things. So I'm still trying to create more passive income so that I can really do the things that I want to be doing without feeling any stress around money. So these were the main things that helped me be able to quit my job at age 36, become financially free at age 38. And hopefully this kind of just inspires you and motivates you to start with saving your money first off, if you're not doing that, and then start to invest your money, because that is key, you guys. And I know a lot of other YouTubers and other people have done this at a lot earlier age than I have, and I am so happy for them. I think it's so amazing, and that's why I'm sharing my story. So if you are younger than me, you can apply these principles that will work for you and become financially free at a younger age. Quit your job when you want to. And if you're a little bit older than me or even the same age, you can still apply these principles and retire in 10 years instead of 25 years or whatever it might be. But hopefully this gives you an idea on how it can be possible for you. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. And please hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel to help get this content out to more people. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And just as a side note, if you guys are interested in getting 2 free stocks, Webull is doing a promotion. If you sign up for an account, you'll get 1 free stock, and if you deposit $100, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $1,400. So I will leave my referral link below, and you can click on that to get your 2 free stocks. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.